If that is happening, the trial is not taking place in Italy.
Having a very
when a
logical
convicted
connection.
prisoner, whether convicted prisoners can be exchanged, the remaining period of the convicted prisoners, they can undergo in their respective countries. If that is the clause in that, this is not the only agreement with Italy. There are many such cases. Many such cases with many other countries that you are mixing up together.
Mr.
Don't
Chacko,
try to dilute the intention of the government.
No, I'm not. My duty is only to raise the questions. My duty is to raise the questions. I am asking, why did the government, here's a repeat of my, I'm asking, why did the government of India sign a treaty which would have allowed these two Italians to fly away even if they were convicted? PC Chacko says, Arnab, you are wrong, there is no connection. Atul Kumar Ranjan says there is a connection. Mr. Ranjan, can you explain why you feel there's a connection when PC Chacko says that's a mere coincidence we should not be looking at? Please respond to Mr. Chacko.
I just want to tell the Congress a little bit a different story.
But tell Mr. Chacko directly.
We have taken for granted, but no, I don't want to refer his name. I am just talking to Congress. I just want to.
He is from the Congress.
I don't want to, save some skin. I am just saying it is the policy of the Congress government. You see, whenever some person from European Union or somebody from America is killed over here in India, the entire European Union creates a problem. They will come here. I remember 26/11 in Bombay, how the Americans were making pressure and all that. One person, their national, a American national or a European Union national, how much important for them is that. They will come here and pressurize the things. And you see in our country, 2 Italians killed our people, to our poor fishermen, and the entire government of India allowed them to go. And I say, you know, in the law ministry, what the law ministry says, our attorney general speaks in the same term in the Supreme Court. What reference were given to the attorney general? What sort of advice were given by our law ministry to attorney general? I think the government of India and law ministry has said not to yield, not to make a noise, and whatever is going on, let them do it. And because of that, and here I want to say especially also, just Arnab said it, here also the question of the Supreme Court and such type of decision by the Supreme Court are also being, scrutinized, will be scrutinized by the common people and the right-thinking people in this country. I think it's the question of the sovereignty of the nation. It's the question of the dignity of the nation is also, involved into it. Anybody can come and kill our nationals, our own citizens, and they will go. And the Supreme Court will take note of all that. I think these are the questions not only related to the Sonia Gandhi, Italy, government of India, and what Prime Minister said. My friend from the Congress is almost saying, Prime Minister has categorically said. Yeah. Prime Minister has given a solemn pledge from the rampart of the Red Fort that the price rise will be checked. 7 times he has said, and he has failed.
That has no relevance to this.
So what is
Mr. Ranjan, don't divert. You don't divert from the subject.
What's the face value of the Prime Minister?
No, don't divert from the subject. I think you are diverting now.
You have raised the correct point. Arnab, you have raised the correct point.
That is not the subject, Mr. Ranjan. No, that is not the subject.
One question.
No, we want to stay focused on the subject.
Why they signed such type of agreement with Italy?
1 minute.
Why they have? We know the Quattrocchi case. We failed to bring him here, and now we are allowing two Italian nationals killing our 2 people to go away. These are the things.
No.
We have become a soft target. India has become a soft target for Italy. India has become a soft target for European Union.
Where was the reaction of this gentleman?
We should not care our nationals.
Mr. Ranjan, Mr. Chacko, allow Mr. Chacko is saying something to you, please. Yes, Mr. Chacko, what are you saying to Mr. Ranjan?
When these 2 citizens were allowed to go, when these 2 Marines were allowed to go by the Supreme Court, where were these gentlemen? The man who was speaking the gentleman who was speaking just before me, where was he?
Where was your government? Where was your government? Where was your government? Where was the Kerala government? Where was the Kerala government? Where was the government of India? Where was your Prime Minister? Where you yourself, you were talking about the Kerala people who were killed. So why you didn't go there?
From the communists. There was no reaction from the communists, not from the BJP, when he was allowed to go by the Supreme Court. Now they are fighting fault with the Prime Minister. What
because you failed to check.
Everything that India can possibly do, we will do.
You are a
these
poor
people
Prime
are always
Minister. You
there
can't do
criticized.
anything.
They
You
have
are
no
a poor Prime
responsibility.
Minister, a non-functional
have
Prime Minister, a
absolutely-
toothless Prime
these
Minister.
These gentlemen who shout have no responsibility. But government of India will take the responsibility.
I know you are
and they will see to it that this
saying that
will
you
be
are a
brought back.
responsible person with lot of irresponsibilities.
One second.
A lot of irresponsibilities with you.
Gentlemen,
You want to
gentlemen,
claim yourself
one minute.
as a
There are
responsible
possibilities,
person,
there are
and your government
possibilities.
itself is a irresponsible government.
May I
There are
come in?
possibilities.
May I come in, gentlemen?
Don't underestimate.
May I come in, gentlemen?
Don't
Rajiv Rudy
underestimate
wants to
the
come in. See,
government.
one minute. Gentlemen, I just want to say one thing. You know what?
All right.
Mr. Ranjan,
Don't
Mr.
allow
Ranjan,
the
Mr.
Italian
Ranjan, allow
government to
me.
take
What they
the
want to
diplomatic
say.
immunity
Mr. Ranjan,
and
allow
allow
me.
him
They want to make a
to
political
flee
issue
away
of
from this
something,
country.
nothing else.
Mr.
He
Ranjan,
has given,
Whether
he
it is
will be
Rajiv
blocking
Kumar
the
Modi
entire
or
Supreme
the
Court of this
communists,
country.
they want
Sir.
to blame the government. Blame
Sir,
the Prime
please,
Minister. Blame Sonia Gandhi. What else?
Arre Baba,
I feel as strongly
I just
as
want
both
to
of
tell
you about this.
Are you going to take a stern action? Are you very much careful about
Sir.
that the Italian ambassador should not take the diplomatic immunity and he will flee away? He will challenge the Supreme Court of this country also.
Gentlemen, I checked one thing. Rajiv Rudy, before I come to you, one small point.
No, just
One small point.
Small
It's a-
point. Arnab, let me complete
Okay,
it.
go on.
Just let me do it and then you can speak. Arnab.
Go on.
Arnab, there is a small point. Mr. Chako has raised a very valid point saying that the opposition did not raise a voice when the Supreme Court finally allowed them to go out. But the question is, the opposition, whether it's Mr. Anjan or Rajiv Pratap Rudy, we do not know that the government is an accomplice in seeing that the fugitives have to escape. And if that is the intent behind, how do you expect the opposition to know? When the Supreme Court gave that, Supreme Court would never be aware that the government is a part of the whole campaign to see that these people fly off and don't come back. So we are not aware. So that is the charge which you are making, that you are an accomplice in seeing that the fugitives have flown away, and that is our charge, which even the Supreme Court did not know your intent. And this is the charge which the BJP is making against the Congress party.
I want to
and
know the
intent is
preparation.
very clear.
I want to know the preparation that lawyers do when they appear on cases on behalf of the government. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a very, unresearched layman. But I am told, Mr. Chako, that you can do a Google search right now. It'll take you 5 seconds and find out that you can vote in India via postal ballot for Italy. However, I am told the additional Solicitor General appearing in the case for the government said it should be first ascertained. It should be first ascertained when that postal ballot was not allowed in Italy. Why did he not find out whether it was allowed or not allowed? Because if he had found out that it was allowed, would it have become more difficult for the Italians to go? After this, the lawyer for the Italians produced the Italian ambassador's affidavit. Why did the government lawyer not say in the court that, by the way, postal ballot is allowed and the Italian government has no business, has absolutely no business wanting to take them to Italy to vote?
Government. You are putting the question to Congress party. This is a decision taken by the Supreme Court of India after hearing all the parties. Now you are blaming the Congress party for that.
No. The lawyer is representing the government.
Yes, Congress
This
is
is the
responsible
most-
because
this is the
Congress
interesting
party is in
thing.
power and they are dealing the things, and the law ministry gives the direction to the
Congress party is not
Solicitor
appearing.
General. You could have asked Mr. Salman
Congress
Khurshid,
party
you could have
has
asked
taken a
Mr.
position
Veerappa Moily,
consistently.
you could have asked Mr. Kapil Sibal in such a situation what to do. They would have told you.
No,
that
you
Italians
decide,
have,
you decide.
national
One sec. You asked a
postal
question, Mr.
ballot.
Chako. Mr. Chako, let him respond. Mr. Chako, why did the government not do a good legal homework
You are
before
a
going to
battery
court?
of the
Let
Supreme
Mr.
Court
Chako
lawyers
respond.
in your
Mr. Chako respond.
What the government
ministry.
do and
You
what
can
the
ask
government
them.
did not
You
do,
should have
please
asked
don't
them
make a
why you
judgment.
have not asked. Because it's a matter of Italy, so you have not asked.
Mr. Anjan, don't be suggestive. Let him answer, please. Yes. Mr. Chako, did the government not do its good legal homework?
Please, Aruna, I don't know what is shouting. In between the shouting, I cannot hear anything what other gentlemen are saying. And somebody who, I don't know who it is, saying that, they don't want to ask my name, they would want to ask the Congress party. I want to tell that gentleman that
Mr.
Congress
Anjan
party is
of the
ruling
Communist
state
Party of
Kerala.
India.
The Congress party is ruling the state of Kerala. How we handle this case, how the Kerala police arrested these people in spite of very many resistances and in spite of the diplomatic pressure put on the government, how we handled the case, they should understand. But when finally the Supreme Court ruled that it should be jurisdiction-wise, it should be shifted to Delhi, then after hearing the government of India, after hearing the Italian ambassador, they decided. Supreme Court decided whether they should have gone.
No,
whether they should not have been
Mr.
released.
Chacko.
These are all issues.
Mr.
See,
Chacko.
where were these people? I don't know. I put one question to you. Where were Rajiv Pratap Rudy? Where were these other,
Mr. Anjan.
When the Supreme Court decided to go, allow them to go. If they once they went and they came back, there was no reason to disbelieve. They gave a written affidavit. The ambassador gave a
Rajiv Rudy.
How the government...
Rajiv Rudy, please respond to Mr. Chacko. Where were you and why have you woken up late to this case?
Yes.
Why were you not
Mr.
putting up the
Chacko
pressure
and Mr.
earlier?
Chacko, yes, Mr. Chacko, you have said a very good thing that why didn't Mr. Rajiv Pratap Rudy or Mr. Anjan wake up. But I would just like to ask you a basic question, whether in the state when the case is being fought,
answer that.
Is it
You
being
answer
fought
my
by
question
Rajiv
and then
Pratap,
ask my
is it
question.
being fought by Rajiv Pratap Rudy or the
Why
BJP,
are you not answering my
or the
question?
people fighting the case on behalf of the people, the fishermen who were killed was the state? Or is it the center that the BJP or the Communist Party is fighting that case, or is it the government of India through its own solicitor fighting the case? So it is the job of the government of the day and the job of the government of the day, which is headed by the Congress Party, both in the state of Kerala and in the national level, is the job of the Congress Party, the Congress government, which is supposed to defend those who have been killed. And now you have not done that job, which you should have done, and you became an accomplice to see that those fugitives escaped. And now you are asking the opposition to stand in court and defend them.
Mr. Rudy, if you are patient enough, please listen. I have a handicap because I am not able to hear you properly, what other people are saying also. What Arnav is putting questions to me, I get a feeling that you are conveniently trying to use the name of Congress somewhere, Sonia Gandhi's name somewhere in the Prime Minister, somewhere in the Congress. You please understand that
you are guilty.
we were fighting this case very strongly, considering the sentiment of the people, how the case was conducted in Trivandrum, in Cochin. You should please go back and try to understand. When the Supreme Court decided that it should be transferred to Delhi, the case came to Supreme Court. There also, the Supreme Court taking a decision, they are not bound by the Solicitor General's advice. They are not bound by anybody's advice. When the Supreme Court, after hearing everybody, then they decide that on a conditionally they can be sent. That was not the wish of the government. We did not support that. But finally, when the Supreme Court took a decision and these gentlemen left this place 2 weeks back, then what did you do? Did you ever protest? They should not have been let off. Did the major political party of India, BJP, ever express their concern? They should not have been let off. Even these other friends who are shouting now, did they ever express their opinion? So it is not the party's opinion. Government, after making our representation in the court, if the highest judiciary of the country decide that once they were allowed to go,
Mr. Rudy and Mr. Rudy, allow me,
whether they want to go there, these are all decisions taken by the Supreme Court. We are not a party, especially the Congress party.
One minute, Mr. Chacko.
But now I can tell you one thing. The Prime Minister has given us assurance that whatever possible steps the government of India can take, government of India's authority and integrity and the Indian citizens' rights, we are quite conscious of that. Government will do everything.
Okay, one second. Gentlemen, I just want to put, I don't think we'll get an agreement, but I want to put one thing at the very end. I want to put one thing at the end. Gentlemen, allow me, I don't want to raise my voice. My point is simply this, Mr. Chacko, I'm not doubting your sincerity. Mr. Rudy, you could have raised the issue earlier. Mr. Anjan, you have a point to make. The only limited question which I'm raising is, if it had been the case, then in Italy, close to Italian waters, Indian Navy personnel would have shot 2 Italian fishermen. Would they have been allowed to get away from Italy in the same manner in which these 2 Italian Marines have left our shores? That's a question we need to address. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We're following the story very closely indeed.